Welcome back to Physics Junction. In this video let us talk about evanescent waves. Before getting into the topic let us go over on some basics. Let me start with the total internal reflection. Total internal reflection occurs for any incident angle, theta I, greater than the critical angle theta C, and it can only occur when the second medium has an index of refraction, N2, less than the refractive index of first medium, N1. Let us consider two media with different refractive indices N1 and N2 respectively, and assume N1 greater than N2. The light is allowed to incident at the interface of first and second media. The part of the light is reflected at the interface, and the other part is refracted, transmitted, through the second medium. The angle made by the incident light is theta I. As well, the angles made by the reflected and transmitted light rays with the normal are taken as theta r and theta t respectively. According to Snell's law, ratio of sin theta I to sin theta t is equal to N2 over N1. The expressions for angle of incidence as well angle of transmittance is given here. If the angle of incidence theta I is less than critical angle theta C, then theta t is less than 90 degrees. Thus the refracted light will pass through the second medium, at one angle of incidence. The wave vector of the refracted wave eventually becomes parallel to the interface. That is, at the critical angle, theta C. Thus, the critical angle is defined as the angle of incidence that provides an angle of refraction of 90 degrees. If the incident angle is equal to the critical angle, that is theta I equals theta C, then the angle of refraction theta t is 90 degrees. From Snell's law sin theta I equals N2 over N1 times sin theta t. Substitute theta t value and we get sin theta I equals N2 over N1. Here we can write sin theta I equals sin theta c. Therefore, sin theta c equals N2 over N1. From the above expression theta c equals inverse sine of the ratio of the indices of refraction. That is, when theta I equals theta c, the refracted ray becomes parallel to the interface. As well, when the incident angle theta I greater than the critical angle theta c, no transmitted light in the second medium. That means the incident light is completely reflected in the first medium itself. That is called total internal reflection. Thus, obeying the law of reflection, let us rearrange equation 1, that is sin theta t equals N1 over N2 times sin theta I. We know that N1 greater than N2, therefore ratio of refractive indices must be greater than 1. Therefore, sin theta t will be greater than unity. As well, from equation 1, theta I equals inverse sine of N2 over N1 times sin theta t, or inverse sine of N2 over N1 times sin theta t is greater than theta c. Thus, when the angle of incidence exceeds the critical angle, the incident wave cannot pass through the boundary, and is totally reflected into the incident medium. In other words, the light incident on surface completely reflects off it back into the medium from where it came. This is called total internal reflection. Now let us get into the topic evanescent wave. That is, we are going to define the evanescent wave. If there is complete reflection of incident wave in the first medium, then none is propagated into the lower refractive index material, second medium. It represents a discontinuity in the electric and magnetic fields at the interface. However, as per boundary conditions, electric and magnetic fields cannot be discontinuous at the boundary, and there must be some M field in the lower refractive index material to dodge the discontinuity in the fields. That is evanescent field. Evanescent waves are electromagnetic waves that do not propagate and are spatially concentrated in the vicinity of the source. Thus, the evanescent waves are formed when sinusoidal waves are, internally, reflected off an interface at an angle greater than the critical angle, so that total internal reflection occurs. Here one component of the wave vector kt becomes imaginary or complex, which experiences exponential damping while propagating at the interface. The x and z components of propagation wave vector are kx equals kt sin theta t, and kz equals kt cosine theta t. So, the propagation constant of transmitted wave is kt equals kx plus kz, and plug in kx and kz values here and we get kt equals kt sin theta t plus kt cosine theta t. As well, the wave vector k and position vector r are represented by k equals kxi plus kyj plus kzk and r equals xi plus yj plus zk respectively. The dot product of wave vector k and position vector r is kx times x plus kz times z. Here we neglect the y component. The electric field of transmitted wave Et equals E0 times e to the power I times kr minus omega t. Replace kr with kx times x plus kz times z. Substitute kx and kz values and we got this expression. Then distribute the power. Now we have an equation with three different terms. In the first term just replace kt sin theta t with kx. Then in the second term replace cosine theta with square root of 1 minus sine square theta t. Rearrange the term. Here I square equals minus 1. This is known as propagation vector of evanescent wave. Thus, the electric field equation of the transmitted wave is obtained. Here I have given the electric field equation of transmitted wave with three terms. This is the equation which describes the wave traveling in the x direction, that is along the boundary direction with an exponentially attenuating amplitude. First term represents the propagation of the wave along the interface. Second term represents the time dependence of the wave. Third term represents exponential decay of the amplitude of the wave propagating along the interface. From this equation we understand that the evanescent waves commonly occur in the near field of a wave. Also, the intensity of evanescent waves decays exponentially with distance from the interface at which they are formed. Next, let us move on to application of evanescent wave coupling. To excite surface plasmons at a resonant incident angle, evanescent wave coupling is used. Surface plasmon polaritons are electromagnetic waves that travel along a metal dielectric with infrared or visible light frequency. The fields away from the surface die off exponentially, and those fields are thus described as evanescent in the z direction. As well, this evanescent coupling is found more useful in photonic and nanophotonic devices as waveguide sensors or couplers. Then coupling of optical fibers without loss for fiber tapping in powering devices wirelessly. For explanation of extraordinary optical transmission. Also, in total internal reflection fluorescence microscope to excite fluorophoresis close to a surface. The last one is to analyze surface properties of biological samples. These are the few applications of evanescent wave coupling. Now let us go over on surface plasmon briefly. Surface plasmon polaritons are transverse magnetic, that is p-polarized evanescent waves generated at the expense of light energy under total internal reflection conditions, which propagate along the interface with their field amplitudes, decaying exponentially perpendicular to the metal surface. Tuning the angle of incidence of the totally reflected beam at the interface is the resonance condition for excitation of surface plasmon polaritons. That is the matching of the parallel wave vector component. Here part of the wave reflects from the metal dielectric interface, and a small fraction of the wave will penetrate the medium. The penetrated wave interacts with the atoms and electrons of the medium, which will contribute significantly to the SPPs. This is known as generation of surface plasmon polaritons with evanescent wave coupling. I hope this video is more useful to you guys. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching.